Yes, 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 yes! That was a goal. Striker! Eat that! And another! Bing bang, stick it in. Thank you and good night.
Twat! That was liquid football.
Shit!
Hello everybody, it's your old friends at Monday Madness and welcome to another episode of our That Was Liquid Football podcast. Your old friends, trust me on this one, your old friends Neil and Jonathan joining you for this one, and Burkebot is almost certainly here as well. Isn't that right, Burkebot? Burkebot, you there?
Yep, I am definitely on this podcast live during this recording. These aren't sound bites.
That's a very odd thing to say, man. Okay, whatever.
Yes, no idea why she had to point out the fact that we're not, we don't have basically a soundboard.
That's very odd for her to say. Like, I mean, I don't know what she has to respond to that, but here we go.
Oh!
Okay, Jesus, calm down. Jesus, women, eh? What's your time of the month? I don't know if it comes across, but it's a two-man band this week. Burkebot will chime in at some points during the show whenever I feel like clicking on it. So we do have a lot to get through, though, Neil. So we'll start off, as we always do, with around the transfer guff. So, if you're not familiar with this round, if you're not familiar with this round,
Bar is a load of bollocks.
Okay, Rachel, calm down, Jesus. They're really not the issue here. If you're not familiar with the round, I've got three transfer stories. Two of them I'm after taking from published journals of news, if we can call them that. And one I've nicked off my FIFA save file, which, let's be fair, is more accurate at times. And it's up to my two colleagues, yes, trust me on that one, to decide if they're real or not. So my first story is this. Melissa Reddy of ESPN.com has claimed that Liverpool are concerned that Gini Wijnaldum is going to be leaving in the summer transfer window. Now, that might sound strange to most Liverpool fans, but people often forget that Gini's agent is Mino Raiola. So that's apparently the reason for the concern. So they're thinking that they want to have a backup plan in case Wijnaldum does actually go in the summer. And they are believing that they can get Yuri Tielemans from Leicester. And they've touched base, they've made inquiries, and apparently Tielemans is an option. So we'll go with that. The story for there is Yuri Tielemans to Liverpool. Second story then comes from a very reputable paper, the Daily Mail, who claims that Tottenham's top transfer target is a striker, namely Napoli's Arkadiusz Milik, who's a big target man and is definitely not a replacement for Harry Kane. I don't know what gave you that impression. So apparently Napoli have set quite a massive transfer fee on his name, so much so that Spurs probably couldn't afford the whole money aspect of the deal. So they reckon that they might offer Lucas Moura as part of the deal to sign Milik. So according to the Daily Mail, the story is Milik to Spurs and Moura going the opposite way. And last but not least comes from The Independent, who were reporting on a transfer story for West Ham United. And it's very subjective to if they can survive relegation or not. If they manage to survive the drop, they will lodge bids for Manchester United outcasts Phil Jones and Jesse Lingard. Because David Moyes is a believer of people, Neil, okay? He's a believer of people.
Believer in charity as well.
Yes, very, very true there. So yes, that story is Lingard and Jones to West Ham United. So those are your three stories. Neil, what do you think? What's tickling your brain so far?
Well, I'm not going to go with the swap thing. I think that's a whole load of horseshit. You know what? You never really lose traditionally by betting against the patheticness of David Moyes.
Mm.
So I'm going to go with the Moisey story. I reckon... I reckon the first one. That's the fake.
You're going for Tielemans to Liverpool as the fake story.
Shit, hang on. No, I'm sticking with my guns. I say the swap story is the fake one. They never happen.
So you're going for Mora to Milik to Spurs and Mora to Napoli. That's your fake story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Burkebot. Spurs doesn't spunk a huge amount of cash on Mora as well, didn't they?
Well, relatively speaking, it's like 27 million. But the contract,
he's also one of their better performers.
He is. This is the thing, but the problem is that
that's not a high bar.
Not a high bar. Granted,
don't worry, we've got a derby to talk about, so we can put the exactly. Spurs anyway.
Absolutely, yeah. But the bizarre thing is that I think Mora's played out of position a lot, and that kind of makes his situation worse looking.
What is his position? He's been played everywhere.
Yeah, this is the trouble. He's supposed to be wide right.
Yeah, he's one of those. He's kind of funnily enough, he's kind of like Wijnaldum, given that we've mentioned Wijnaldum doesn't really have a position. I know he's played centrally in the midfield, but really is he suited?
It's not defined.
Yeah, it's not defined. I guarantee you could probably put him straight through the middle, full central striker, and he'd still be no. I reckon he could do a job there.
To be fair, we did play Wijnaldum as a striker against Barca, so yeah, it has been done. It is possible. Whether it's good or not, I don't know. But we did lose that game 3-0, so that probably explains why we don't do this as often.
I don't think you can blame your choice of centre forward on you shipping 3 goals against Barcelona.
I don't know, man. We attack, defend from the front, you know what I mean? That's how it works.
And hell.
I know. Okay. Burkebot, what are your thoughts on Transfer Guff?
Transfer Guff!
Yeah, that's what I said. What are your thoughts on the Transfer Guff?
So the first one, Melissa Reddy's story about Wijnaldum. I haven't heard you complaining about that, so I'm going to say that's false.
Okay, valid points. Okay,
I don't know which players Jose Mourinho actually likes at Spurs, but Lucas Moura plays a lot more than, I think he should. He plays Moura than he should. Get it?
She's clever, isn't she? She's good.
But yeah, I don't think he's particularly willing to be let go by Mourinho.
Yeah, that's what we can just sack her off already, can't we?
United rejects. Finding a place down with West Ham. I'm actually just surprised that they think they're going to survive relegation. So, yeah. No, I don't think that's true.
Okay, so what are you going to go
for? Out of all of the fakeness, I'm going to say the Wijnaldum one leaving, because I genuinely think you'd be cracking up if you'd heard that.
Okay, interesting. So thank you for your answer there, Burkebot, wherever you may be right now. So my, as I said, my first fake story comes from The Independent. First fake story. What am I talking about? First real story. Jesus, false alarm. First real story comes from The Independent, and it is apparently the double deal that David Moyes is going to do to help Man United shift out their deadwood. Okay. So Jones to Lingard to West Ham is apparently happening, according to The Independent.
Pathetic.
Indeed. If anything, that should relegate West Ham now. If that's who you're being linked with, just fucking go to the Championship and sign Timu Pukki or something.
Absolutely. Or just, you can take Phil Jones. Just don't keep him in the Premier League. Take him to the fucking Championship.
Take him to League One. Fuck it. Just bypass the Championship altogether. Just send it straight down to fucking League One.
Absolutely. The footballing glue factory.
Absolutely. Jesus. So my other real story is from the Daily Mail. And they are reporting that Arjus Milik is Spurs' transfer target, and they're willing to sacrifice Luka Moura to get him. I shit you not.
Oh, well, that's the Daily Mail. They're full of shit.
They are full of shit.
Can't even believe the date in the Daily Mail.
This is true. You're not wrong there with that one. But shockingly, despite her not being even in the fucking call, Burkebot wins Transfer Guff again, because she rightfully called that Wijnaldum to anywhere is completely bollocks. So, Burkebot, well done.
Our Lord and Saviour, Arsene Wenger.
That has nothing to do with this. I don't know why you said that. So well done, I guess.
I'm just going to blame Emery on that, to be fair.
That's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah, we'll do that. Because, I mean, that was actually fairly easy as it was. So I think we'll just turn off Burkebot for the time being. So Neil, are you ready for the Premier League rundown?
Let's rock and roll.
We've had a lot of football in the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie. If anything, it's been kind of like a lethal amount of football, because it's just been.
I know only 2 people who've watched every single game that's been on, and like they've not come out of it well. Like this has not been something that they've enjoyed. Like at this point, like granted, one's a Man U fan,
yeah,
but he's just like Man U are picking up really, really well right now, and that's the only thing that's keeping him watching football. Because if they were still playing like they were before, he'd have just sacked the whole thing off and stopped watching.
Yeah,
he's burnt. He's actually managed to burn himself. He said never before did he ever think he would burn himself out watching football. This guy will watch fucking anything now. Like this is the guy after he's finished watching, he watches the La Liga, because the La Liga is usually on first. The La Liga, that'll run into the Premier League, then some Bundesliga after that, then maybe some Serie A.
So he goes on proper football binges,
complete binges, and for days on end, every day of the week, he'll just sit down and watch fucking football, and he's getting sick of it now. He's getting sick of it. I was like, holy shit.
Says a lot, man, doesn't it? That says a real fucking lot there. So yeah, we'll get through this as quick as we can. We got 3 match days to go, but as I said, there's a lot of chaff in these games, so we're not going to spend that much time on it.
We've been heavy on quantity, short on quality.
Very much so. It's like if Sierra fucking booked this Premier League. So the first game that happened already by the time we had podcasted before was Wolves 1, Aston Villa 0. We said we'd talk about it on this show, but we're not, because it was very, very dull. Just a regulation win for Wolves. Villa tried gamely, but they just don't really have the quality, really. And that's kind of the story throughout this entire sequence of match days, really, isn't it? They just don't have enough to stay up.
The story of their kind of entire season, hasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
They're complaining, they've been really. They're one of the main teams that have been whinging about, because the league, I'm not sure if you noticed today, the league announced today that they're going to keep the 5 sub rule on until next season.
Yeah.
Which I love. I keep it forever. I fucking love the 5 sub rule.
I like it too, yeah.
Yeah, and Villa been the main ones going, this disproportionately benefits bigger teams. But it's kind of like when West Ham were saying, we should void the season, when they were out of the relegation zone by goal difference.
Yes.
Sort of people are looking at Villa going, yeah, the fact that we have 5 subs isn't your problem.
It's not even that, but weren't Wolves the guy, or weren't Villa the team to sign 13 players in the summer? So,
exactly, yeah.
So they don't have a leg to stand on, really. It's not my fault that your transfer is terrible.
Exactly, that's just it. They really, it's a real throwing past at a wall kind of way they dealt with their transfers, and hoping that some of the pasta that sticks can also play left wing.
Yeah, exactly. If you can find a left winger for Villa, I would thoroughly appreciate your input. But
I think with Villa, I think the main worry with them is that they are going to get pillaged. They have a few talents. They do have some talent on their books, but man, they're going to get picked clean. That carcass. Watch the carcass that falls back into the Championship. It's going to be a fucking shell of the team that we're watching now.
Yeah, you can definitely see that for the 3 teams that are in the bottom 3 right now, and it's fair to say I think that's kind of where it's going to end, unless there's something miraculous happens in the last few games, which we'll obviously touch on later on. But you can definitely see that there are good things in this team, but it's just that the team itself is really incomplete, and that's what's really kind of relegated them. We'll get on to like the other teams like Bournemouth and Norwich throughout this, but so yes, Villa lost 1-0 to their, I suppose, their closest rivals now, considering Bromley isn't in the league yet. Watford won, Southampton 3 then was next. And again, another story of Danny Ings being himself and scoring goals and taking names. And again, notable for a fucking beautiful Ward-Prowse free kick.
Oh, yeah, man. He fucking cracked that sucker in. Like, funnily enough, it was prior to kind of like this game that Southampton were always bigging Ward-Prowse up as a good dead ball specialist, and I'd not really seen much of what he could do over the dead ball. And what little I had seen, he was pretty much gasha. Jesus Christ, hang our hat on this one, man. He fucking cracked that sucker in.
It was really, really good. I'm not going to lie. The Southampton team looks really great. It looks so good now, considering that they were like relegation threatened for their first half. And you could have said like, well, they could have sacked the manager and got someone more pragmatic in. No, they stuck to his guns, like, and he's got them out of the mess. Like, you have to say that.
Well, they're well drilled. They got back that, like, the one thing about Southampton, they were always really well drilled teams.
Yeah. And
they kind of dispensed with that at the beginning of the season to try and play like more avant-garde kind of football. And in any case, it was like you should have. Funnily enough, they got rid of their hard-working nature in order to try and be a bit more like Liverpool with their, like, you know,
pressure
and like real skill, high skill level football, which is not Southampton's level. And I was like, no, you should have kept the hard working part, because that's the basis of what Liverpool do. Like,
yes, exactly. Yeah.
And then you try and layer the talent on top of it, but they keep getting picked clean, which is their main issue. But no, they've gotten back to what they're good at, and you know, their run of form since the restart has actually shown. Yeah, you know, they can't stop.
It has to be said, like, that they have been one of the form teams in the league. Like, they have, like, even in the first 3 games, they picked up 7 points, which is incredible considering the games
definitely since the restart. Definitely since the restart, they've really kicked on.
Yeah,
they're one of the few teams that like came out of a restart like in third gear, and they've just shifted up. Yeah, it's been brilliant. You know, not the best, really not the best team, but they are definitely probably one of the top 5 teams to come out of a restart.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. So moving on, then we have Crystal Palace 0, Burnley 1. And then moving on, then we have Brighton 0, Man United 3. Another, like, it's kind of been the theme of Man United like games, because I'm actually going to talk about one of the United games coming up. But it's just been the theme that it's either Bruno Fernandes or Mason Greenwood, and you can kind of see why they are fitting into positions where that the team kind of needs right now. But as I'm going to talk about like later on, there's still a lot of work to be done in the Man United team. It's just right now everyone's at a much lower level, and they've kind of stayed the same. So they kind of look better by comparison. But even then, when you do have like a run of games like Brighton, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, they're going to look good.
Yeah, they do have quite a favourable backdrop coming out of the restart.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's not to take away from what they've done. Like they've had great scalps this season, like against Man City twice and a few others. It's just that like
over City.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Fuck me, I thought only Wolves did that.
The Wolves did do the double over City.
Yeah, no, I thought only Wolves did that. Like,
no, City have lost like 9 times this season. Like,
yeah,
it's bizarre.
No, I only realized that now.
You guys have won more games or you guys have lost less games.
We've lost less games. Yeah, it was after actually because I'll be talking about their game against Southampton, so I'll kind of touch on that. But it was after that game when I was cheering, I was like, ha ha ha, and there were people like going like, oh no, they've now lost more games than Arsenal. I was like, that's clearly bullshit.
It's mad. It's mad when you think about it. Like
website tables. Holy shit, it's right.
Exactly.
But we'll get onto that later, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Look, so we'll talk about more about United later on. But again, just a great performance. Bruno Fernandes is the team now at this rate. He is their fucking kingpin, and
Jesus
it's
Christ.
really
Whoever sanctioned his signing needs a fucking bonus, like a proper styly league bonus. Like, actually, he should get a medal.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree. Yeah,
because fuck
inspired.
Me, has he clicked into that team?
It says so much because, like, he in a way, like, he is that kind of last puzzle piece because he's making everyone else play better around him, and that's really just what they've been missing. It's just that last midfield general to just slot in there and link like not even the three like midfielders, but the three in front of them as well.
Yeah, I was about to say it's not even like kind of like a midfield general sort of thing. It's more like a kind of the cog in the machine that gets everything else turning. You know,
he reminds me a lot of Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso was incredible for that when he was with us, and just that kind of the way he is dictating the play is very much like how he used to do it. And again, we were all the way better for it because Mascherano, Gerrard, when Alonso wasn't there, they were both kind of like competing for the same spot, and that's where the midfield didn't work. But once Xabi was in, tasks were delegated, things were organised, and things worked, and we nearly won a title out of it, you know. So yeah, again, we'll discuss more on it. Neil, we are going to talk to your first match of the rundown, which is the 4-0 thrashing of Norwich by Arsenal. But back to winning ways, I think it's fair to say.
Yes, very, very much so. Some very good performances. But, you know, Bournemouth, well, not at the beach. They weren't at the match. Yeah, I mean, like, people will say, oh, the 2 goals were pure gifts. But I will say one thing. Any goalkeeper that tries a Cruyff turn in his own fucking box deserves everything he fucking gets.
Yeah, absolutely. We can all agree on that, let's be fair. Like, that's just taking the piss, like.
Nah, man, sorry. You just really can't. But no, it was really, really very good. Funnily enough, our midfield quite well clicked, despite the fact that Norwich had 5 in midfield as a way to try and kind of choke it off. But we just went around the flanks really, really well, which is actually going to be a bit of a theme. I think in the next Arsenal game, I'm going to be talking about flank play really came into it. But yeah, I mean, like, it's about, you can't really say like a 4-0 win is routine, but it was pretty much a routine win, you know. Ceballos really came into it, really fucking dictated the course of the game. Tierney has already cemented himself in Arsenal hearts, and he, with his just hard running, hard work, solid ethic, great balls in, good tackling, defending, loves getting stuck in. Reece Nelson started, kind of a rare one, but he got stuck in as well. He's usually a kind of more of a sober finisher for us. Yeah, no, it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I mean, it's just been really fucking good. With Aubameyang notching up his 50th and 51st goal of his Arsenal career. Brilliant. And he got an assist as well. Actually, yeah, he set up, I think he set up the Cedric goal.
The Cedric goal, yeah.
Yeah,
which was very, very nice goal, I must say, for someone who's just come on for like the first time in a year.
Exactly, yeah. It was. But it was one of those games where you're like your substitute right back is coming on and smacking them in from 25 yards with his left foot.
Yeah.
You know, when that's coming off, you're like, yeah, I've won this. We definitely won this. Like,
exactly, yeah. But this is it. Like, that's the type of performance they've had, and it's in a way like they've been able to kind of keep that form of momentum, because I think like at this stage like Arteta knows what type of team he wants, and the personnel is there now. When like at certain points in the season you had injuries, you didn't have a complete unit. As also that, then you kind of had to play a Louise or a Guendouzi or an Ozil. And the reason I picked them out is because they are now, well, at least where Guendouzi and Ozil is concerned, they're completely frozen out. A very like notable decision, but like it's kind of shown on the pitch really. Like the team, the players that are there are like playing as a unit. They're more cohesive without them.
It's been absolutely brilliant. We've gone to a 3 at the back, purely because Louise just can't play in a 3. They can't play in a 4. Looks vastly more comfortable in the middle of a 3 with 2 centre backs on the outside of him, and I think that was always kind of the plan.
Logic, really, wasn't it?
So we'd have a central defender, which I think would be Holding or Saliba, with Mari to the left because he's left-footed.
Yeah,
and then a rotating kind of right centre back to his right with the wing backs. And I think it's curious now, again, we'll get into, because it was very evident throughout the Leicester game, but how he has the team attacking is really, really weird. So not weird, but it's good, it's novel. So what he has is, he's the wingers. So we're fielding wingers and wing backs. Kind kind of odd. So what he has the wingers. What he has is he's got Pepe on the right hand side, who's left-footed.
Yeah.
And he's got
Aubameyang left.
Yeah, he's got Aubameyang on the left. So what he has them do is he has them cut in and has the wing back overlap.
Yeah.
So you've got kind of almost like 6 in attack at any one point.
And it's what we do with our kind of like front 6 as well. In that like the midfield kind of gets really compact, and like the Salah and Mane would start out wide. You know, like that's their kind of starting position, if you like. But their actual direction of play is towards goal. It's kind of like going, like cutting through the line.
Yeah.
And then when you do have the option there, and again, you can kind of see it very clearly now when you have Tierney and Bellerin on the pitch. Like now that you have those two like zippy players on those flanks, it helps out a lot because now you know the option is there, as opposed to being brave and trying to do it yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. And also, in particular, Tierney has Saka to overlap on.
Yes.
So Saka is the left-sided player who's right-footed.
Yeah.
As opposed to Pepe, who's the right-sided player who's left-footed. So when they cut in onto their dominant
strong foot, yeah.
With the fullbacks overlapping on their dominant feet as well. So you've got a really great shape there. And then you've got players you've got either Lacazette or Aubameyang through the middle there. It's in central midfield, which is kind of where it's not really working, but Ceballos is really coming, and this is the game where he really started to kind of go, oh yeah, this is what I'm meant to be doing. And Ceballos and Xhaka as well, they're really, really clicking very well. And it was after this game that Arteta started really making noises to the Arsenal board that they should really start talking to Real Madrid. I wouldn't be surprised if we wind up signing him.
They have been saying to try and extend his loan for another year. I have been hearing that. Now I don't know if it's I don't know if they can sanction a permanent deal, but I don't know if Real really care at this stage. They're trying to like poach fucking white tigers at this rate, transfer wise.
Exactly. I think Arteta, I actually have his direct words up here. He's like, this is something the club will have to talk about more with Real Madrid. And I mean, Ceballos is not liked by Zidane.
Yeah, that was established.
That's very much established. Zidane is still there. He's going to be there next season. And I don't think anything's going to change. Like, the Real aren't in the quagmire that Barcelona are. So I don't think we could get onto that later, but
yeah,
this Norwich game really kicked on a lot of rumblings that are still going, and a lot of them you've touched on Ozil and Guendouzi, and we'll probably get onto that a bit later. But it's this Norwich game is where things really started kicking on. Yeah,
exactly.
Which is why I love this game.
Exactly. No, it's been a good couple of weeks for Arsenal, in fairness. So you've every right to celebrate. Another good week actually for Newcastle. Would you believe? And I'm shocked to say that because like you'd have thought like with Steve Brucey and like the pasties and the players that they have, they would be collapsing after like such a break. But these guys have been fucking amazing. They beat Bournemouth 4-1, and no word of a lie, this is the most exciting Newcastle team I've seen since fucking Kevin Keegan. Like they had like. At any point of option, like they had so much pace in the team, which is again such a fucking weird thing to say about Newcastle. But like, but they got like I say Maximin, who can dribble past anybody, and he did.
How did they get him? I've still no idea. Know. I think that's on par with fucking Pardew getting Tevez and Mascherano.
The fee was on like 13 million. It was a bargain. Like. Yeah. Nobody just noticed. It was so weird. And the great thing is,
from now.
Oh god, yeah, I'd say there'd be people sniffing around. If not next season, if not this season, the next season. That is until like the Saudis come in and go shit. It's just like it's like $200K a week. Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
They making their money on him.
Totally.
Unless he has a spectacular collapse next season, which I don't see happening, because he's a hungry young bastard. Like he's a hungry player. You can see how he plays. Not always the most refined or skillful, but the work rate and the effort is there, and that's pretty much what you go for with young players.
Yeah, especially in a team like Newcastle, where like it's actually easy to have like really flair players like that, because like okay, like granted, they're not the most fashionable team in the world, but they will but Brucey gives them a spot. You know what I mean? Like they soak up defense so much, like they're able to like once you get an opportunity. Give the Maximin the ball and everyone just chase after him. kind of way.
I don't know. It's a curious mix. Like you were saying there that they're not the most popular. They're not the most. It's a weird, curious mix of kind of homegrown nostalgia with the Longstaff brothers.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel that the whole Shawnee and Matty kind of two young boys, they're proper Newcastle lads there and all this shit. And I was like, that's like shit you hear back in the 70s, where like, or if you go back to like the 60s where Celtic won the European Cup with a starting 11 of players that were all born within 9 miles of the fucking ground.
Yes, that's
like
right.
That harks back to that type of fucking era. And then they've got these mad, weird fringe flair players like St. Maximin that nobody's ever heard of. They paid 30 million for, and that everybody now wants.
This is it. Like, it's such a weird collection. Like it's like half of two teams put together, because you've got, like, as I said, the grift, the grind, if you like, of like Matt Ritchie, like Jamal Lascelles, Fernandez, Dubravka.
Matt Ritchie, the least flair player you could possibly imagine, the anti-flair.
Yeah, and he's like playing right back, right? And their other choice of right back is Valentin Lazaro, who just runs. Like, he doesn't defend, he just fucking runs. I think, I'm wrong, he plays left back. So at left back, you have Lazaro bombing forward, and Matt Ritchie going, "Where you going, you bastard, you?" It's just fucking pull back, like.
Do you mind the whole left flank, pass the ball to you, please?
This is it, because the whole left flank is Lazaro, St. Maximin, and Almiron, practically. And, like, there's just all the pace is on one side of the team, and all the fucking stone is on the other side. Yeah. It's like this team is, like, virtually, running, turning left or something.
Exactly, yeah.
It's so
like
odd.
Every time they get the ball, the entire left half of the pitch just disappears. They're like, lads, come on.
But the bizarre thing is, it works. Like Almiron is playing great now, because, like, he's starting to. I don't know. I don't know if this is purely because, like, the empty arenas or the fucking the midfields just generally have been, like, so open post lockdown. But he has space and he's scoring goals. And the goal he scored against Bournemouth was fucking beautiful.
Oh yeah, crap! It was great, really, really fucking good.
But that's what they bought him for. Like, he used to score that goal all the time in the MLS, where he would just, like, take the ball, dribble 20 yards, bump, just lift it over the keeper. That was his signature. Yeah. And, like, now he's doing it in with Newcastle. It's really nice to see. And with St. Maximin, like, the goal that he contributed to, which is the Longstaff goal, just the dribble, like, there was just something like wonderful about seeing that again. Just keep watching how he does it. And he just, like, I think he rubs in like 3 Bournemouth players at that rate. Like, he could have been. And it was just the whole movement, the whole, like, excitement around him. Like, it's great. You need more players like that in the Premier League. Like, and like I said, when you have a team like Newcastle, it's a great spot for him in that sense, because it makes the Newcastle team just that bit more interesting.
And he's going to get a sustained. I think the reason why it's clicking now is that they've all gotten a sustained run in the team. It's clicking now because they all now know each other. They know what they're like. They know how to deal with, say, Maximin. They know how to deal with Almiron, who's just going to fucking peg it. They know how to deal with. Yeah, they know how to deal with the players who are like, all right, then the instant I get the ball, I'm just going to pass it out to my left because that prick's going to just start running.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't even have to look. I'm just going to go, boom, stroke it out.
You just know he's going to run. And that's right, follow him. Right, that's a tactic now. Follow him. That,
just instantly get the ball, knock it into space ahead of him, because he's going to be there in about 4 or 5 seconds time.
And Joelinton's just there going, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, exactly. He's just happy to be there.
He's
scoring a fair amount of goals now.
He scored a goal.
He's not raking them in now, but
no. Apparently it's his link-up play they like.
Yeah, that's the. I don't think he's one of their few demerits in kind of like, he has not justified their transfer fee on him.
No,
they are not making their money back on that motherfucker. Nobody's going to pay them what they paid for him,
except for maybe some crazy team in Qatar, maybe.
Yeah.
Unless if the Chinese Super League kicks up a stink again, like that's when Joelinton really gets the time to shine. Yeah. So Everton 2, Leicester 1 was a game that happened. Slightly upset that Everton are doing well, but I mean, what else can you do, really?
So am I. Usually, I always am, because why is Everton? But fucking delighted that they beat Leicester.
Yes, very important for you guys, in fairness. But Leicester
delighted.
Leicester do eventually get their act together, which is good. They just had a really very sluggish start, actually, which again, kind of surprised at. I thought Leicester would have been at it, like, but they just
Well, they did come
wasn't
out of it
coming out
at
for
it. They did come out of the blocks quite well, but it's just they've been hit now with injuries
Yeah,
and
that's true.
players just being out. And I don't know. It's just weird. They're a very one-trick pony. Sharktooth doesn't like really mixing a whole lot up, and sometimes you'll just run into a team that will they're like, oh no, we know that trick. We know how to play around it. That's kind of what we're going to do. Now, that makes it sound like Everton kind of like Ancelotti and Everton masterminded this fucking get out of jail around Leicester. They didn't. They scraped it. They scraped
They did,
this. They scraped this 2-1. But it was very much like Leicester were banging their heads against the brick wall.
They were trying. It was one. As I said, it was just trying the same thing over and over again.
There was no plan B.
Results.
There was absolutely no plan B. You know.
Yeah. This match was fun though, lads. I can't believe I'm saying this, but West Ham 3, Chelsea 2. Holy shit! Oh, this match was fun. Like, this is a good one because like we had VAR, we had penalties, we had free kicks, we had David Moyes, we had fucking Mikel Antonio after getting drunk at Christmas. Like, this game had everything, and one of the best fucking counter-attacking goals you'd ever see. Just like, because I love as well, the conversation I was going to have about Man United, you can very much say the same about Chelsea, is that their attack is really, really potent, at least at the moment, with Pulisic and Abraham, Giroud knocking in goals as well. Midfield options.
They started playing Giroud.
Yeah, always helps. Always helps. You got all those options.
They activated today. Actually, they activated the 1-year extension option on Abraham's contract.
It makes sense, really. Keep him there. Keep him on the same money, you know. So yeah, that was a very logical idea. Yeah. But at the same time, like their front six, if you like, is quite solid because their midfield is very packed, very busy. And then they just got great flair up front with Pulisic just really showing how good he can be.
He's really come out of the lockdown, Pulisic.
Yeah.
Like I've not rated him as a player, and let's face it, our next podcast I'm going to go back to slagging him off.
Naturally, it is the season.
But the next three, I'm seeing the list of 3 games we're talking about. He played fucking brilliant.
Yeah. I think the difference was he was nursing a groin strain all season, and now because of again, a lot of players have been like this. Like a lot of the flair players have had a knock, and over the season, and they've come out now that they've had the break. They're feeling the benefit of it now, and Pulisic is certainly one of them. Willian, I'd earmark as well because he's out of contract pretty much, but he's just having a lot of fun out there, like scoring goals, free kicks, penalties, the whole lot. And from the Chelsea fans I've spoken to, they don't really like him, but I guess they should appreciate his contributions because he's been pretty damn good.
He's just not liked. I don't understand why. I think it's because he's not. I think is it something like they believe that he's not re-signing with them, like he's deliberately not signing a new contract with them or something like that.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Well, fuck you then, you know.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with that really. But no, he's been great. Like this game was just a good bit of fun and could have pretty much saved West Ham when you think about it.
Absolutely,
considering the rest of the teams around them.
Yeah, no, I if it's not this game, no, I reckon if they do stay up, it'll be this game that they look back on and go, see those 3 points, lads?
Yeah,
that's when we got it.
Because it was the running they had, because they are facing more big teams soon, and when you do look at it, just to pick up one scalp, especially considering the form of the likes of Villa and Bournemouth, one scalp was all you needed, and same with Brighton. Actually, Brighton needed a scalp off you guys; they got it, and that was it. So in that sense, fuck it, that is just enough now at this point. Granted, it'll be a good bit different when you have to if a Villa or a Bournemouth pick up massive 3 points, then the conversation changes. But for now, big deal for West Ham, really. So next up then on our list is the overlapping centre backs and their win against Spurs 3-1. So Burkebot, you've earmarked this match. You've been quiet so far. What have you got to say about Sheffield Spurs?
Sheffield versus Spurs. This match was mental. Since the restart, I've been fortunate I suppose, to watch several Spurs matches and several Sheffield matches. This match kind of went as much as I'd expected. Sheffield, with their overlapping centre backs, doing bits, and David McGoldrick running around and doing even more bits. And
Yeah, in fairness, like that's been kind of the story of like Spurs lockdown wise. Like Kane's back, get the ball to him, and every single time it's just like so fucking. Out of all the teams I've watched, like Spurs have been definitely the most like lackadaisical. Is that the right word? Like the slowest team out of the lockdown.
Yeah, all of their players seem to have come back with a lot of extra timber. Kane in particular. Kane does look like. I remember a friend of mine over the lockdown saying that it kind of felt a wee bit like Christmas because he was eating and drinking like it was Christmas. So he picked up an extra soda or two, and I don't think he's alone in that.
No,
it also doesn't help as well that Mourinho's really got the team going through the gears, but the only gears that Mourinho has is reverse and park. So, yeah, I don't really. It's just, it's hilarious. Now, the way he can, it's weird. Jose's lost the ability. It seems like he's lost the ability to even set up a defense, and that was one of his major that was his ace up the sleeve, and that Jose was just so defense minded. I think one of our previous podcasts many years ago, I stated that if you look at Jose on the sidelines, I think it was when he was in charge of Chelsea, that he just the whole time when he's on the sidelines, he's just looking back at his defense. And it's like the attackers, the attacking midfielders, they can go and do what the fuck they want. He rarely even coaches them. But it's when the ball starts coming at his defensive midfield and his goalkeeper, and that's when he starts shouting and fucking screaming and But they're just, and they're also their players are just terrible now. They've really gotten on.
Yeah,
like, Dyer is really out to live up to his name. Aurier is not a bad player, and Arsenal fans saying that about a Spurs player, I mean it. But the thing is that he's to cover like almost, I think it's either him or Sissoko has to cover the entire right wing. Whilst Aurier is also one of their sole creative outputs. So I'm like, they're really if he was fucking Lionel Messi, he wouldn't be able to do the job they're asking of him, and he's not.
No, he's not. That is abundantly clear. That is not the case.
Lucas is not doing it either. Sissoko, not really. There's just not fucking.
There's nothing really happening with that team.
There's not. Even in this game, when did they score their fucking goal? The 91st minute.
Yeah, and that was after they felt a bit. You can kind of see where they're coming from. A bit aggrieved with
90th minute.
Yeah, they were a bit aggrieved with the handball as well. The Kane goal. I do feel sorry for them in that sense because that is it's a bullshit rule, and VAR is applying it, but like you can't really like govern for that. You can't control that in that sense. So like to be penalised for it, I think is a bit harsh. But we have seen it being chalked off, so at least it's consistent in that way. But
yeah, I mean,
you kind of see where they have a chip in the shoulder over it.
VAR there is consistent. However, as we'll probably talk about a bit later on, VAR has been consistent. It's been consistently fucking bad.
Yeah, that's true. We will talk about that more.
It's been fucking. It's so terrible. But yeah, I mean, they can complain about the referee's decisions and all they want, but they didn't deserve it.
Yeah, exactly. Burkebot, have you anything more to say about this game?
But they did manage to score 3 times in this match, 2 of which were one for offside and then one for handball in the build-up, which, as far as the rules go, yes, should be chopped off, but even I found that a bit harsh. But they didn't deserve to equalise, they didn't deserve to win, and Sheffield were extremely good for the win here. Kane did eventually get a goal popped in when he was going through the centre. Oh, it was brilliant to see, and he deserved a goal out of it, but didn't get it. But yeah, he was my man of the match.
Okay, thanks, Burkebot. Sorry about the interference there, by the way. I accidentally poured elderflower over the soundboard, so the next few clips are going to be very, very noisy indeed. But yeah, like it's quite interesting the point she does make though, because it's a kind of a story, a tale of two strikers, really, isn't it? Like McGoldrick, who's like best kind of like attribute in this Sheffield team is the link-up play and just like getting those players, making space, making runs. With Kane, the story is that it has to go through him, and like I said, like as I was saying earlier on, like he looks so slow and he looks so so unfit. Like it just seems like unfair to have him on the field. And granted, this is Spurs' own doing, because who's their backup striker? They got rid of Llorente. They got rid of Janssen. Troy Parrott is their like second choice striker, really, and they don't use him. So like to be fair, it's their own fault that they have like such a slow strike force, and it's only like by virtue of the fact that Kane was there when like Mora tripped the ball in that like otherwise he wouldn't have fucking scored, you know?
Yeah, well, they're not creating either. You
No,
know, like
that's it.
If they were like funneling huge amounts of ball to Kane, and he was fucking blasting them all into Rose Ed, they're like, you know what? That team deserve a better striker, but I wouldn't be saying that because fuck them.
Yeah,
But do you get me? You'd have that kind of thing, but like it's weird. He's profligate in a team. He's profligate in a team that are expecting him to feed on scraps as well. Like,
yeah.
Okay, then you've not only you're not using a strength to out balance a weakness. You've just doubled up on the weakness there. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
I think Mourinho was trying to use him in the same way that Mourinho used Drogba at Chelsea. In that,
he always plays a one up front. That's always been a system.
But Drogba at Chelsea fed on scraps. He did fuck off. He got nothing. He got shite ball, and I fucking hate Drogba. But he got absolutely garbage ball. But he made something of it because he was quite talented, and that was a skill. You could give him scraps. That's why when they switched over to Torres, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Torres is a silver platter footballer. He needs it lined up for him, and he was not getting that. So he couldn't do anything. And unfortunately, Kane is, he's trying to play the Spurs team like he played his Chelsea team. And unfortunately, he doesn't have Drogba and Kane. He's got Torres.
Yeah, no, that's a very fair assessment. And that's kind of been the theme of like Spurs going throughout the whole match days, really. They do pick up a win later on in against Everton, which we'll talk about it. We won't, really. It's a fucking horrible game.
Terrible.
Speaking of horrible games, is the one I'm going to talk about now, which is the clash of the Titans. Second place Man City versus incumbent champions Liverpool. City won 4-0. And if you wanted to see what a team playing hangover football is like, consult this match.
You kind of always think, I wonder what would happen if a Premier League team went out there completely fucking ratted.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, thinking of Jägermeister.
This is it, like.
Proper fucking cider beards and everything on them.
Yeah, exactly.
It. They were just, like Klopp can complain in there, everything, make all the excuses he wants, but his team were still hungover.
Yeah, it was.
Fuck.
We honestly didn't give a fuck about this match. I mean, granted, like, I kind of made the point to someone else that, like, if the title was an issue, if this was like, if it was still in the balance somewhat, I'd still be inclined to think that, like, Man City could have beaten us by a similar scoreline, not 4-0 or by any stretch of imagination, but like they would have beaten us comprehensively, because that's kind of how games between us work. Like when we're at home, we boss them, and when they're at home, they boss us, and that's kind of the way the relationship is. It's very dom sub football, if that's the best way of putting it. Like, it's very bizarre.
Does that count with no crowds? I would have thought with the no crowds and lockdown football that wouldn't have really kicked in anymore.
I'd say for us at home, it would make a massive factor, because let's face it, the best way to get into Man City's players' heads is to throw flares at their bus, and that if there's one thing our fan base does, it's that really fucking well. Man City fans, on the other hand, they're not a flares type of people. They're more of a we got what we gotta have type of people. So that's the kind of like the different culture, let's say, of the fans. But at the same time, though, like, I would have believed that Man City could have beaten us regardless of the context, you know, because, like, they, at that moment in time, they would have been the better team. And they still do have the better players than us. Like, I'm not deluding myself in that sense. But the difference between us is that we have a winning formula and they've lost it. And one game is not going to transform that. As we saw the week after, they completely wasted everything against Southampton. So in a way, I feel kind of vindicated by them, kind of like gloating over, like, in a footballing sense, gloating over us by saying, like, oh, look at all the silky footballers we have. We got a penalty off you by getting Sterling to be, like, basically groped by Joe Gomez, which was stupid, granted. But even then, like, the whole idea was, like, oh, we got De Bruyne, we got Foden, we got Sané. Oh shit, he's gone. Okay, never mind him. We got all these other players.
I will admit, like, Foden has been a bit of a. I genuinely thought Foden was just going to wash out. I did not.
He is for real. He is for real.
Absolutely. If you'd have posited this scenario, the Foden scenario, to me a couple of months back, I'd have bet against it, and I would have lost that bet. So I will say they do have something to say about Foden. But man, like, you've lost the league. Now is not this practice about this shit.
This is what it feels like. It feels like it's just like it's kind of like a real kind of like, now do you love me, daddy type of fucking match. It's just like, it's like, okay, like this is Man City working through their issues, and like Liverpool just going, like, we completely understand, but, you know, hello, hey lads, you know, this is there holding the trophy, like, but like it was fine. Like, I'm not too worried about it, because, like, if anything, it kind of did show that, like, we're champions now. Here's the target on our backs. Then we have to be like this every week. But at the same time, like, this was a once-off, and I know it's a once-off because of how we responded against Brighton and Villa, teams who really do have something to fight for, and we still do give them a good game. Granted, and that's a good game, considering that we really do just want to end and just want to start partying. That's really just what we want to do. But we're working towards it. You know, it's like the Friday before the weekend type of situation, where, like, we'll do our 9 to 5, we'll clock in, clock out, and then bam, right onto the fucking Jaegers after that. It's just the meantime we had to just go through the motions and do this, because let's face it, we've never had like a champions a team that does champions this early. So it's fascinating from a sports psychologist point of view. Like, how does a team go this long being champions, but still kind of keeping themselves in like a hungry mindset? And like the Man City one was a kind of a freak occurrence, because Man City just like beat the shit out of each other practically to get the fucking ball and score goals and just like prove it to us that they are good. So, lads, we know you're good. Like, the issue isn't that, like, you're good against us. The issue is that you're shite against everyone else. You lost to Norwich, you lost to Southampton, United twice, Wolves twice. Like, those are issues that you need to deal with. You know, like, don't fucking give out to us. Like, of course you're going to be game against us. That's not the problem. The problem is that when you're supposed to be like clinical winners against teams like that are supposed to dig in or counter attack or whatever it is, you start fucking it up, and you have to see why you're doing that. That's your homework for this season, is to figure out why suddenly you cannot put these teams away when you normally should have been.
And also, there's no real point in putting it up against the team that are still drunk from drinking out of the winner's trophy.
Yeah, precisely. all it is it's like, it is just a case of like, see, we're still good. It's like, we know. We know. Thank you for sharing. But yeah, like, anyway, it was we were in the game for like 20-25 minutes, and then once they went 2-0 up, we said, fuck it. It was just like, go on. Is it all right? We like you, really, you know. And then there's like rubbing like Pep's bald head, like, oh,
absolutely. Alisson is making Caprianas at half time, man. Come on, enjoy
come on, man.
Yeah, it really was one drunk team against another team that were furious that they were the ones drinking.
Yes, precisely. It was the guy's birthday party and the designated driver. That's what that was. So that was the end of Matchday 2032. So moving on then to a couple of days later, Matchday 33 starts off with a massive fucking win for Brighton against Norwich. Huge, yeah. Because this is like, when you really do boil it down, this match and the next match after that is what relegates Norwich. Not a shock there. It's been coming, but these are the two nails in the coffin. Especially considering who it's against.
To join the other 20 odd nails.
Exactly, yeah. I like Brighton are a nice team. I like Brighton. I want Brighton to do well, especially considering that they've done one of my favourite things ever, which is to get a player whose name doesn't match their nationality. They're one of their loanees for years, like a player they've been trying to get, they've bought for years, but he couldn't get over because of work permit issues, is a guy called Alexis McAllister. And he's Argentinian. Which is just great.
It's not like the Delaney guy who plays for fucking Sweden.
Thomas Delaney, he plays for Denmark, yeah.
Oh, Denmark.
Yeah, because he's Canadian, and he declared for Denmark when he was playing over there.
Like Thomas Delaney. Oh, really? What nationality? Oh, he's Danish. I'm sorry, what?
I beg your pardon. Do you want to run that by me again? No? Okay, we'll just move on then.
Shit, there's that fucking youth player we've got as well. Fuck, I think he's Swedish, and he's got the most un-Swedish fucking name. I'll look it up, hang on.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
I mentioned him on one of our podcasts, actually.
Yes, you did.
Continue on, yeah. Brighton,
I will.
Brighton definitely needed this.
They did.
Holy shit, did they need it.
This is what makes them. This is what turns them safe, I think. Like they got 2 massive wins, and that's really all they need because of the relative quality around them. I just hope to do well. I like the Brighton team. I want them to do well. And to be fair, like I actually do see them as a team we could loan players to. Like I can see us like loaning them a Grujic or Brewster next season and just watching those like players flourish because, like, granted, the Graham Potter, he looks like a really fucking good coach and not like an overhyped one like Eddie Howe. Like he seems like he knows what the fuck he's doing, and Brighton seem to have a good structure there, you know. So I wish all the best for them because I will talk about them in the next match day. Next up, though, is my match of this match day, which is the Man United Bournemouth game, 5-2, which is a mental scoreline considering. But yeah, I briefly discussed about the kind of like duality of the United team through Chelsea, because I said to Chelsea they're all attacking, no defence. United are in the exact same position right now, where they have fixed the midfield, they've got the attack, like they know what they're doing with the front three, and it's a very, very good front three. Like they've been stats galore about like Greenwood, Martial, Rashford, and how many goals they're scoring. Again, very reminiscent of how we had our front three during the Brendan Rodgers years, and all Solskjaer really had to do was just get them to play on the same page and make it work. And to his credit, between himself, Michael Carrick, and John McKenna, they have got the midfield three working. And in turn, that's making the front three work. The issue now is defence, and critically the goalkeeper as well. The real red flag for me was Harry Maguire in this match. Now, this should not come as a shock because, good God, to have spent that much money on Harry Maguire, you're going to be waiting a while to get that return. I can get that he's young, I can get that he's English, and that kind of boosts up the price, but he's not worth that money. He's not that player. And the reason I can say that is because the first Bournemouth goal was a Stanislas effort. And literally Maguire, all he had to do was hoof the ball out. But he tries to coax it out of play, not realizing that Stanislas is there, and just nutmegs him, and then scores just from like a degree angle from De Gea. And De Gea, to be fair, like, okay, granted, it's coming at him fast and not realizing it. But it's not like De Gea to completely like fluff that either. So I think like they're both involved there.
We were saying I was saying that he fluffed the goal he conceded against Spurs.
Yes.
Which was fired straight, actually went in off of him. And he just didn't react in time. And I was like, ooh, you know, I think there's some real major cracks starting to show there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is it, like, and I think like it was kind of noticeable in this game because like Bournemouth, we've spoken of Bournemouth, they are not in a good way. They are like a really, really bad team. In fact, they're probably the worst team playing at the moment after the lockdown. Outside,
yeah, I was going to say they've not come out of the lockdown. Well, in all fairness, Norwich were fucked before the lockdown.
Yeah,
let's be honest with you.
That's for fair.
But Bournemouth really, the restarts really fucked them up, like, big time.
And there's no real. I don't see a major desire in that team to really get out of it. There's no team there. You don't see a lot of leadership really, because they're all around the same age bracket, and the senior like players just look fucked. Like they just look tired. They just want to go and retire, but could be fucking plumbers or something. especially like Adam Smith and Steve Cook, who just look haggard. But the issue really is that even though this Bournemouth team are still like really, really poor, United still managed to ship 2 goals, and one of them was because the defender was very negligent. The second was a bit of bad luck on Bailly's side, but it was still a handball, you know. So in that sense, like I can kind of like you can kind of forgive them for the second goal. They still managed to put 5 past Bournemouth in the end because that was the quality of the side. But again, like if we're people, this is a message to Man United fans to not get ahead of yourselves just yet. There's still a lot of work to do in that team. You may have a good attack and may have a good defense, midfield, but teams are smarter than that. Teams will be able to bypass that. Once you go up against a team that's tactically well drilled, like Liverpool, for example. I'd even throw Everton in there after another summer of Ancelotti. They will be drilled much better.
Yeah,
Sheffield.
Fernandes is not going to be able to run that kind of a rule over every team.
Exactly. They will be able to mark Fernandes out of that team. And as much as you will try, like I know like the plan B will be, we'll just get Pogba to do the same job. Cool. It'll be the same thing. You'll get a midfield trap. People will trap your midfield. You need something more. You need to be able to dig in games.
Not a whole lot of width in that team.
It's not. They're trying to get like Shaw and Wan-Bissaka in a bit more. And Wan-Bissaka will do it. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Shaw is the issue. You know, they don't. Shaw can't run.
Just can't. Like I don't know what happened when they signed him, because before they signed him, he was shit hot.
He was shit hot.
He was pegging it around the kip.
Yeah.
But fuck me, like.
At least from their point of view, Brandon Williams looks like a good enough talent. Like you can give him a couple of games and he'll do good, and he has played well when he's come in. But like again, it's been kind of that weird thing we ended up doing with Trent Alexander. Is that like, do you really want to rely on a 20-year-old like fullback? Well, it worked for us, so who knows? Like who the fuck knows at this rate? But definitely centre backs, you need to fucking sort that shit out. Like Maguire is not up to standard. Bailly is not up to standard. You're not getting Smalling back. I'd say Roma would want to keep him. Jones is not up to standard.
I don't think Smalling wants to come back.
No, why not? Like he's been doing brilliantly in Italy. Yeah. So like, why would he bother? Like they'd love him over there, bizarrely. But even then, like that's where they're at the moment. So like that's the next part of the plan now. Like United fans should not be looking at like number 10s. They shouldn't be looking at Sancho or Havertz. That's not the players they need right now. What they need is a keeper, which they do have in Dean Henderson. What they do need now is centre backs, and that's where their focus should be. Get good, really good, proper, no nonsense centre backs that will solidify that team and make them more serious. And I'd add a bit of width. Yeah, add a bit of width. Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so next up then is Leicester 3, Palace 0. Leicester just getting back on track, really. Vardy playing really, really well. Kind of needed the goals, let's be fair, because he was on a bit of a dry spell. Just kind of a necessary win for Leicester, really, isn't it? Like, they just needed a fucking...
they needed a win, and let's face it, they couldn't find better supplicants in Palace.
Yeah, exactly.
Palace was basically rolled over. They literally got to the pitch and went, fuck.
Exactly. They're one of those few teams that are definitely on the beach. Like, they started the lockdown going, oh, lads, I'm fucking knackered. Are you tired? Oh, I'd love a cup of tea, like.
Exactly. You see the players at their drinks breaks having to put away their banana daiquiris.
Exactly. Even Roy Hodgson's on the fucking espresso martinis, like, just trying to stay awake.
Hoping they don't angry up his blood.
Yes, exactly. And his poofy hair. Although he's cut it now since the barbers reopened. So, it's a shame. It's a pity. So next up then is the Arsenal game of this fixture, and it's the 2-0 win against Wolves. Burpa, you have very smartly booked this ahead of Neil. So tell us what you thought about this game.
I was genuinely worried about Wolves versus Arsenal, but despite the 20-minute second half storm defending Wolves' onslaught, we held out and we were brilliant. Our passing, our game plan were spot on. Traore was obviously their key man in this game, and we marshalled him well between Kolasinac, the tank, and Kieran Tierney with his speed. Really kept him quiet during the match. In the second half, we had Ainsley Maitland-Niles come on for a wrecked Kieran Tierney. I was really worried about that, and he actually came on, made a crunching tackle straight from the get-go, and I
it's kind of mirroring what you were saying in the Norwich game, really, about Tierney and just kind of the steel you've kind of developed over the last few matches. It does help when you do know your best team now, because that was kind of the issue, like before the lockdown, was that like you couldn't really settle on a best 11 because of injuries and other shit going on. Now you do have a general idea how to get this team working.
Generally, but I think also what Arteta's he's instilled is that if you play well, you'll get onto the pitch. So he's installed, like he came in, he said everybody's got a clean slate. What you did before, I don't give a shit about. It's just, here are my rules, follow them, and you'll be on the pitch. And they've done that, and he's seen, like, he's frozen Ozil out. Guendouzi's gone. I don't think he's been gone by the point of this. Actually, he was gone by this game.
Yeah.
So they see that, Arteta. I mean, every fucking every era needs a kind of buzzword phrase. With Wenger was handbrake.
Yes.
or there's so many of them over 21 years, 22. So with Arteta, it's non-negotiable. So he has a set of non-negotiables. And he will tolerate players kind of doing what they want to a point. But there's a line that he's like, no, you do not cross this line. And if you cross the line, you don't play. And it's very obvious that Ozil's not willing to do anything. And that Guendouzi has crossed the line multiple times. Again, well, if you want, we'll discuss a bit about that more. But the players know that, like, I train my guts out, I work harder, I become a better player, I get played.
Yeah, simple.
And that's just really fucking good for the players. And it helps now that we've got some serious talent and they're all fit. And they're all really working for it. And because they know that I'm not passing it to some fucking jobber only in because he's getting 300k a week. I'm passing it to another guy who wants it more than the other guy who was meant to be in his position. If you get me. When the team plays for each other, you get that kind of sense. And that's definitely what this team. And also, I think what this Wolves game showed is just brilliant game management. Which is why most Arsenal fans were so fucking nervous, because we've never had that before.
Yeah.
But, in particular, how we managed to marshal Traore out of the game.
Which was a surprise, really. Like, I think Burke was going to talk about it later on, but like the Wolves team just they slumped a little bit, and I think I don't think that's because like. Sorry, I should specify that's not because of like Arsenal in that sense. Like their performance is their performance, but like once like you've got them under control, the Wolves team didn't really kind of like change the agenda there. Like you guys were kind of in the ascendancy throughout the entire game. Yeah,
it's mad. Wolves have they've come with their own flavour of high impact, and I mean that seriously, because that's all you're going to get with Traore. And quite often that's all you'll need. The guy's built like a fucking... I watch, like, I'm a Seahawks fan. I watch the NFL. I don't see I see linebackers who aren't that heavily built.
Yeah.
And who move like that guy do. Like, he's a fucking beast.
He's incredible.
And having Jimenez feed him or feed off of him, it's brilliant. Jimenez is that kind of silky little... Jimenez is kind of one of those players where you look at Wolves and you think...
Stealthy striker, like.
It kind of is simply what we were... it's the same what we were talking about with St. Maximin and Newcastle. You kind of look at Jimenez and Wolves in the same way. You're going, how the fuck did he get him? Was there anybody else in for that guy?
Did anyone notice it? Hello, is this thing on?
When they signed him, he wasn't subject to a bidding war. He's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's kind of that. So they've come with their own really great flavour of football, and it's worked for them because nobody's seemed to be able to really adapt to it. But now teams are, and it's now become apparent that they don't have a plan B. They don't have an alternate switch.
Yeah, I think that's been the difference, because now that they've had to rotate their squad a little bit, the dysfunction has kind of like developed a little bit. Now, dysfunction is the wrong word, obviously, but I mean that like they can't be as free-flowing as they normally are. Like, they can't rely on a Traore or Neto or Jota in some cases to just like a lock pick a defence. They do have to kind of work at it a little bit more. on the cohesive side. Like, they're still a very, very good team, and like eventually they will get back into it. It's just in the interim when they really do need to win games, this is when they do kind of need to be consistent, and it just hasn't worked for them, and it won't work for them in the next match day. Burkebot, what else did you make of the match so far?
What was weird about this is because Saka had started out on the right where he hasn't played the best amount of football, but rather than bring him back to that left back position, they brought on Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Saka did really well out on that right. He got a goal in the first half with a fantastic half volley into the top of the net after a great bit of build-up play from us. He was doing bits out on the right in comparison to other matches where he's kind of struggled in that position, but Arteta gave him the time. He used it well. And Ainsley Maitland-Niles came on and did a great job marching Traore out of the game in the second half. Like I said, Wolves had that kind of spell of possession and dominance, but it didn't really trouble us that well. Anything that was potentially dangerous, I think Martinez was well up for it. To cap it all off, Lacazette scored a goal away from home with a lovely two-touch finish. First touch to take it around the player, and the second just to poke it home. That's missing from his game. Goals in general have been missing from his games of late, but this was a fantastic finish, and it actually looked like someone who was getting their confidence up. We'll see how that continues in the next match. But Wolves missed a trick, I think, by not playing Jota from the start, because when he came on, he did have a little bit more of that attacking impetus that they needed, but we were still well able to deal with it. We're not going to have 100% possession. We're not that team anymore, so we're going to have to weather storms, and we did it really well in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nail on the head there, really. Just what you were saying there with Burkebot. So it's that type of game that, like a couple of months ago, you would have lost against Wolves. Really.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's like an Emery side would have lost against Wolves, and it would have been a massive surrender. But now that you do have the right players in, you have the right system in, and in a way, it kind of harpers back to that conversation I was having last week, and it's quite prophetic considering that, like, I kind of buried his last week. But in a way, there is, like, at least some form of responsibility resonating with the team. The players that aren't messers are not there; they're not being used, and like I'd like to think Guendouzi, with his age, would kind of cop on to himself a little bit more. But at least now, like, there is, and again, this could all change in the next week, whoever you're facing. But at least there does seem to be, like, some degree of responsibility from the team to work together, because the system benefits that. It benefits having to be able to interchange and talk and communicate, and it's working now. It's still really working when we talk about the Leicester game, even though you didn't get the result you wanted. But even then, like, there is, like, green shoots there for the Arsenal team, which is what you really wanted to see post-lockdown.
Oh, absolutely. And it's brilliant. I really, really fucking enjoyed this game. Saka's goal, by the way, was fan-fucking-tastic.
It was good. It was good.
It started off with a fantastic manoeuvre, because I really have to talk about the way he scored the goal, because there was two passes in the build-up, then the cross. Every single one of them took a mild deflection. So it was a bit of, I think it was Cedric to Aubameyang, and that got a bit of a touch on it. Then Aubameyang sprayed it out to Tierney, and then Tierney crossed it in, and that cross got deflected. So it kind of skims off the arse of a Wolves player. Maybe, yeah. So Saka is actually perfectly positioned for the initial cross. So the ball with the skim, it actually comes a bit from behind them. So he's to turn and hook his foot around, and he manages to hook it right across the goal and into the far part of the net. Past, because Patricio, by the way, Patricio has actually positioned himself perfectly for it.
Yeah.
He's
it was the hook he wasn't expecting.
Yeah, it's dead center. There's absolute swaz on it. He's dead center. He's sighted the whole way, and he goes full stretch for it and doesn't get anywhere near it. And I'm just like, to do that. Well, by the way, he doesn't hit it hard. He just literally hooks it round, because if he hits that hard, that's going into fucking row 0.
Yeah, you know? Precisely. Yeah.
Or he's blasting it wide. It's not going into the fucking goal. So the way he just takes that sweet touch to get around the keeper, and Patricio's a fantastic keeper. And that was actually the 2 goals they conceded against us were the first goals they've conceded since the lockdown.
Which is so bizarre because, like, when you kind of look at it, it's like, oh yeah, shit, they haven't actually. They've been pretty fucking solid. But like I said, this they're wobbled, I suppose, in that sense.
And I mean, well, they have another one.
Yes, they do.
I think, but yeah, no, like, fuck me, did we need this?
Yeah, crucial.
I mean, because they were one place above us in the table.
Mm.
So this was a 6-pointer, if you want to really use that kind of wanky term, which I don't like. But it definitely was. And shit, anything less than 3 points out of this was a fucking disaster. But no, it was calm, cool, collected. Emi Martinez was fucking brilliant. Jesus Christ, I genuinely think we've got one of the best goalkeeper 1-2s in the league. Because Martinez was fantastic.
He's done very well. I have to say, like, you don't really notice I know you do notice it with like the kind of the more like specialized part of the game, like the goal kicking and diving and all that. But even then, like, he just for a number 2 keeper, he's solid for what you need.
No,
you know?
he's also a complete package. Like, there's very real talk about him keeping Leno out because
who knows?
He's got the same reactions. He's taller than Leno. He's 6'4". Brilliant under crosses. Really grabs the ball. Fucking really can pluck it out of the air. You know, like some goalkeepers like fucking sweeping the ball out of the air. You're like, yeah, get that fucker. Great reactions. Brilliant bravery. Can rush a player very fucking well. Traore through 1-on-1 in one instance.
Yeah, and Mark crashed into him.
Well, that was after 20 seconds when he blooters the ball straight at Martinez. But later on, when Traore gets put through 1-on-1 again, Martinez rushes him, and Traore, it's one where he tries to chip him and winds up chipping the entire goal. Like, if you actually took the goal and moved it back 5 yards, he still wouldn't have got that in.
Still missed it, yeah.
And it was brilliant. People were like, "Ooh, if Traore could finish, you were fucked." I was like, "No, look at how he's rushed him. It's brilliant. He's cut off every angle. He's coming tall. He's 6'4". That's a big ass guy to run at.
To rush, yeah.
He's left Traore on his off foot because Traore is left foot. Oh no, he's right footed. So yeah, he's on his on foot. He's left Traore with the awkward position of trying to chip it across the goal over this big motherfucker, and he's fluffed it. So he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and for once, like all this season and last season as well, I haven't really been worried about Arsenal's goalkeeping, which is very fucking weird for me.
Yeah, it's good. Doesn't it feel nice? Doesn't it feel nice?
It's a good feeling. It does. But also in backup stages as well. Like, Martinez was always good. We're really getting to see how fucking great he is. And he's fantastic. And like, there is serious talk. Like, Leno's looking to come back in prior to the end of the season. I don't think he'll make it. Maybe if we get a full FA Cup run, maybe he'll be eligible for a match. But I don't think he'll be getting into the team.
Interesting. We'll watch the space on that one.
There's going to be a serious dogfight for those 2 positions because Martinez. The thing about it is that Martinez also has far superior ball distribution with it at his feet. Given that
they have said about him that he's very, very good.
He's great
distributing. Yeah,
he's great kicking. It's not just a short game. He can punt the ball onto a fucking 10-pence.
Yeah.
Which is maybe he in an interview he's claimed that it's due to the fact he is Argentine. So it's like he'll always be playing as an outfield player, or he's got the same kind of skill set as an outfield player.
Yeah.
And with Arteta being this kind of a pupil of the Pep school, that might count towards him. And like the German Leno without the ball distribution kind of, I used to say, well, that's going to be an interesting one. Me personally, as a goalkeeper and also as an Arsenal fan, that's the one thing I'm going to be keeping my eye on.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll watch the space and see how it goes.
Excellent.
Yeah. So anyway, some more fixtures to talk about here. A few regulation wins, it has to be said. Chelsea 3, Watford 0. Just a good result from Chelsea. Like we kind of like touched upon it in other games, but like just when Chelsea are on it, they're on it.
Yeah, it's a real lads. It's Watford.
Yeah, that's all it is. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah.
No offense to any kind of Watford fans, but Did any of them really think they were going to get anything out of this?
Really? Let's be fair. They're picking their battles, which is what most of the small teams kind of have to do.
Well, they definitely have to do post the restart.
Yes,
they've all been given
precisely.
They've all been given a kind of second chance, and you can tell which of the smaller teams have decided, look, lads, let's get realistic. They've had that. They've had the conversation.
Yes, they have to talk.
Yeah, and what other teams are haven't.
Yes, very true.
That's quite obvious which teams have gotten real about their situations and which ones haven't.
Indeed. Burnley 1, Sheffield 1 was certainly a game that happened. So was Newcastle 2, West Ham 2, which was a bit of fun, actually, it has to be said. Newcastle doing that thing where they just annoy teams. It's like, hey, we scored. Oh fuck, John Shelby equalised. Will you stop doing that? Honestly, dude, take a hint. Yeah. And it's like, again, there was not much else to say about this game. It was just a bit of fun if you wanted to watch it. Again, another goal for Almiron, 3-2, I think, or 3-3, I think it is for him now. Really kicking on. And then it was a regulation win for us against Villa. I suppose it doesn't quite reflect the performance of Villa. They were quite good. They were quite stubborn. And the first half, we were, I wouldn't say leggy. I think we were just kind of patient, if that's the right word to use. Just kind of just kept the ball, didn't really do much with it. And then just in the second half, we brought on Firmino. That made all the difference. But the reason people are talking about this game is because of Keita. Because I mentioned this over the week, but have you heard that we're signing Thiago? That's according to Liverpool Twitter, and no one else. No one else has said that we're signing Thiago except for Liverpool Twitter, and I don't understand what the excitement is.
Right here, take this, right, multiply it by about 1,000, and you're not anywhere close to what it's like to be an Arsenal fan and any transfer fucking window.
But I don't understand. Why are people excited?
Now you
How
know
does
our
it
pain.
work?
Now you know our pain.
It's just okay. So basically, a very close contender for my COD was Liverpool Twitter because they turned on James Pearce, who's the our equivalent of the Oracle, and you just don't do that. That's nonsense. Because he basically put out a very, very good article about why Naby Keita proves that you don't need a new midfield option, and again, the evidence was the assist for the Mane goal, because he did this thing where he did that kind of what he see, a true, I think it's called true vision, where they say here's what Naby Keita saw at this time when he was making that pass, and you can't see Sadio Mane. He is behind Konsa, or was it Konsa? I think it was Konsa. So he's right behind him. You can't see Mane, but the fact is that Keita knows, anticipating that Konsa will move, but Mane will stop. Mane is waiting to receive the ball, but he knows the centre-back's going to try and track his movement to the far post. Mane is stopped. And that communication from 15, 20 yards away, Keita just drives the ball centrally and Mane just buries it. But it's the vision is the thing, because that's what people have been kind of querying about our midfield, is do you have anyone with actual vision, a flair, a playmaker in you to do that? And people in the know have always said it's Keita. And then people have been people who've watched going I don't know, man. He's not Coutinho. It's no, he's not meant to be Coutinho. He's meant to do everything in that midfield. People have called him a complete midfielder because 1 minute he could be playing in an assist for a goal, and the next time he's making a goal line clearance. That's his game. It's very much like a kind of a specialized Kante in that way. But Keita has shown in the last two games, because I'm going to speak more about this in the Brighton game, why people are hyped about him, why we spent money on him. It hasn't worked for him because of injuries, but now once he's actually in the team and getting that run, you can see why people rate him so well, because he's so fucking good. And that's this is the reason why, because he's been able to show that sort of creativity when for a Liverpool midfield we've been kind of criticised for it,
it's an unusual one because
isn't it?
I think what's unusual is that it's so nonsensical.
Yeah,
I believe
it's irrational. It's a completely irrational story.
Yeah, it's completely irrational. There's not even a shred of kind of, oh well, maybe he might fit in here if we, switch to 5 in midfield. I was no, there's literally no setup that Liverpool can have where he usurps Keita, and you're
Not even upset Keita, but not even upset with Wijnaldum. Like, he doesn't have the same industry. He doesn't have the same work rate. He's certainly going to dislodge Henderson or Fabinho. Fabinho is the fucking heat sink. We're not getting rid of him. So, like, why bother with that sort of thing? You need those kind of, like, rotational players. And, like, when you have, like, rotational players like Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, you don't need a Thiago because, like, they're not. It's horses for
not
courses.
A squad player. He ain't a squad player. He's not sitting on no bench. Like,
I was about to say, like, this is horses for courses here. Like, you need, like, if you need a Shaqiri or Oxlade-Chamberlain, that's who you bring in. But, like, Thiago would need to play every game to make sense, and that just upsets the balance. Then, you know, the direction of play then is different. So,
that's the Twitter being the cesspool that it is.
Exactly. So, Neil, this is your turn. Southampton 1, Man City 0. Talk to me about Man City losing to our feeder club.
Man, it was fucking brilliant. I mean, it's one thing to lose 1-0 to this, but to lose... I mean, funnily enough, if you were one of the few if you're being a generous fan, claiming that, like, if you're going to lose 1-0, you want to lose to a goal like this.
Yeah, fairness.
But fucking hell. It's 40 yards. It's basically just punished a whole load of hubris. Man City tried to play it out. Ederson, I don't know what he's doing, right? Because for all the criticisms about his goalkeeping, you know, one of the main things nobody's ever really slagged him off about was the fact that he's a good ball player, like, at his feet. So he runs to the edge of his box and passes it out, but then doesn't immediately track back. He stays there as the kind of... Now, I understand the reason why, in case he needs to come, the ball is going to come back at him. But the person he passes it to isn't being closed down, isn't being marked. Yeah. I don't understand why he thinks, oh, no, he might need to pass this back to me. I was like, no. He's not under any pressure whatsoever. He could have a cup of tea before the fucking midfielder gets to him. That's how far back Southampton were sitting, even at that early point. I think Che Adams scored in, what, like 15th?
Something along those lines, yeah. About 20 minutes, I think it was.
He scored before the first drinks break, definitely, anyway.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, he's not being closed down at all. So why he saw the need to be an outball for a player that's not under pressure is beyond me. And then Julie, that player fucks... I don't know who it was, but...
I think it was Mendy.
I think it was Mendy fucks the pass. And it goes straight to Adams, who's 40 yards out. And he just fucking bends the ball. Like the spaz, the chip, the fucking height. It was just fucking brilliant. He also Ederson did that really funny thing whereby... This is kind of schadenfreude from a goalkeeper. But it's that thing where a backpedaling goalkeeper, he knows the ball's been chipped.
Yes.
And he turns to run, and there's a point where the ball actually goes over his head, and he realizes he's not going to get to it. So he kind of stops midway with his run and goes, for fuck. I'm not going to hear the end of this. But the dejection in his face, I'm like, yeah, fucking cunt. So he did that really, really well, which I liked. And then it was fucking kitchen sink shit.
And surprisingly, it didn't work. They they had so many fucking shots, and it just did not resonate. Like, it just didn't click.
Well, for whatever reason, they didn't have a tremendous amount on target. They had 20 off target. They had 26 shots in total, and only 6 of them were on target. Funnily enough, Southampton had 4 on target themselves. So it wasn't as if they scored 1 goal in the 16th minute. Sorry, I was just looking it up. 16th minute. So it wasn't as if they scored in the 16th minute and then like it was 11 behind the ball. You know, they really they could have scored more than 1. Against City. But it got to a point where City were really turning the heat up, and they just went, right, lads. You know, it's noses to grindstone time. Like, City ended up the game with 13 corners and 74% of possession. You know, so yeah, that's just pretty much it. It was just a brilliant piece of defending.
A brilliant piece of arrogance is what I'd say, because
it was
like
that,
this
hubris.
is hubris is the exact word, because this is Man City fans, like, you know, they had puffed out their chests with the 4-0 smashing of Liverpool and going like, oh, like, again, like, if he's ever watched the Paddy Power fan and all, this was that in a nutshell, because like, oh, this is our season starting now, Champions League final, lads, way, oh no, you can't get one goal against Southampton, the worst home team in the league by a country mile, not even as bad as Norwich. Oh wait, what happened to Norwich? Oh yeah, we lost to them at home away as well. Shit. These are the games we're really bad at. And again, like, it's like, what is it just hubris? It's just the fact that they think they can just run like through small teams like this, presuming that it's just a matter of fucking like assuming that you are the better team and they'll just fuck up eventually. Or is it just a case of just like these are just freak accidents? It's kind of hard for me to say at this rate.
Well, if it is a freak accident, it's been happening quite fucking often because they've lost 9 times.
This is it, like.
It's just, I think it was a bit of hubris, you know. I mean, Ederson probably didn't even Ederson probably just was like, yeah, I'll just hang around at the edge of my box, you know, because they're not going to fucking do anything, you know.
Yeah, it's complacency at the end, isn't it?
It really was, because there was no point in Mendy's pass that looked like it was going to where he thought it was going to go.
Yeah.
So at that point, when you realised that the guys fucked the pass, you run back and you go, oh shit, I should really get back, but no,
never happened. And
then they just couldn't get through. Stalwart, resolute defending, but also they managed to restrict a lot of the shots. So just fucking City were reduced to Bluter into the very, very empty stands. And yeah, I mean, you know, I think they came close. I think Fernandinho hit the post.
Yeah, that was it, I think.
But that was it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think McCarthy did make a very good save off a David Silva header. But, you know, that just shows you just how fucking all aboard attack Man City were. David Silva was winning headers.
Yeah. Was he on fucking Garcia's shoulders or something? Was he? Or?
That's like being out jumped by the grass.
Fair, yeah, it's fair.
So that's just it. I mean, like, in all fairness, you can say a lot about this match, but one thing you cannot say was that Southampton did not deserve to win. They fucking did.
Yeah, defensive masterclass, as they say.
Yeah. And what a goal! What a goal! And that was his debut. Yeah, that's his first goal.
That was his first goal in the Premier League, yeah. I don't think it was necessarily his debut. Well, maybe his first start, but he was certainly like his first goal.
No. His 30th debut. I meant debut, not debut. Jesus, his opening goal.
Yeah. Rabble.
But
two games in.
What a fucking goal to open your account.
Exactly.
In there,
exactly.
My son.
What a goal. Liquid football. What wasn't liquid football was a game against... he said the line, Bart. What wasn't liquid football was Spurs versus Everton, which we're not going to talk about.
I will say one thing. For Everton to go beating Leicester 2-1, then go losing to this abject Spurs team.
And an own goal as well. Like...
Every person I know who's watched this match has turned around and went 90 minutes and not getting back.
Yeah, that's it.
They're just like, no, I just can't. And even like a couple of Spurs fans I know, I'm like, you realise you walked away with 3 very necessary points for them. So like at this stage, when you get given gifts, you can't really complain. But even then, they were still going, that was fucking traumatic.
Yeah, it was exactly. And like just a sign of things to come, unfortunately, as we get into Matchday 34.
Well, hopefully for them, yeah.
Yeah,